Hello everyone, I am Sulekha Sharma and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am coming with second part of this full chapter revision, light. In this part, I will discuss about refraction, laws of refraction, then little bit about refractive index. After that, image formation through lens, how refraction takes place through lens, then lens formula. After that, I will solve one or two examples from the NCERT book. So, let us start with today's lecture. First topic I will discuss is refraction. What do you mean by refraction of light? You know that light always travels in a straight line. That property of light is called rectilinear property, rectilinear propagation of light. But light travels in a straight line only in one medium. If the medium changes, is the light travels again in a straight line or direction of light traveling is same? When the medium is changing? No. If the medium changes, then light also changes their direction. And that change of direction or bending of light from the original path, that is called refraction of light. Suppose light this travels in a straight line like this one. This is one medium and this is the surface which separates the two medium, right? So when light travels from this one medium and it enters into the another medium, what happened? Instead of going like this one, this is the original direction of light. It bends towards the normal or bends away from the normal. It means it changes their direction or bending of the light from this original path. Okay, this change of direction of light when travels from this one medium to another medium is called refraction of light, or you can say when light passes from one medium to another medium, bending of light takes place. So you can write refraction of light in this way: the phenomenon of change of direction of light when passing from one medium to another medium, or you can say bending of light when passes from one medium to another medium. Okay, so this is called refraction. But why this bending takes place? Why there is a change in direction of light when passes from one medium to another medium? You know that speed of light in air is maximum, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. If light enters into any other medium, okay, then what happens? It's a speed changes. It's a speed, actually in air its speed is maximum. So when it enters into any other medium, its speed decreases, and due to the decrease in speed when light travels from air to any other medium, what happens? Bending of light takes place. So the main cause of refraction is speed of light changes when it enters from one medium to another medium. And how it bends? Either it bends towards the normal or away from the normal. It depends upon the density of the medium, or you can say refractive index. I will discuss later on. Okay. So this is the main cause of refraction. Some examples of refraction is like bending of pencil in water glass. Okay. Rainbow observed after rainfall. Bottom of swimming pool appears higher. Okay, these are different examples of this refraction. Now, I am going to discuss what happens when light travels through this glass slab. There is one glass slab and the medium of glass slab is different from that of air. Now, what happens when light travels through this glass slab? Okay, so again, suppose these are the two surfaces which separates these two medium, right? Inside the glass, medium is different, and outside the glass, here air, and again here also air. So it means when light enters inside the glass slab, what happens? It changes their direction. Okay. One more thing, the density of particles in air is lesser than the density of particles in glass. Density means If density is more, it means speed decreases, and if density is less, it means speed is more than this denser medium. So the medium in which density is less, that is called rare medium. So this air is what type of medium? Rare medium. And the medium in which the density is more, that is called denser medium. Again, this one is air, so this is again rare medium, right? Okay, so when light travels from this rare medium, it means air, and strikes at this point, draw one normal. You know that the angle between this incident ray, this one is what? Incident ray, okay? Incident ray. And when you draw one perpendicular to this surface, this is normal, okay? Normal to the surface. So the angle between this incident ray and this normal is angle of incidence I, right? When light travels through this air and strikes at this point, then light enters into the glass slab, okay? This one is glass slab. Now the speed of light changes when it enters from air to glass slab. Inside the glass slab, it is denser medium, its density is more, it means a speed decreases. So instead of going like this one, it bends towards the normal, and this is the angle of refraction R1. Angle between this normal and refracted ray is called angle of refraction, okay? This one, this is angle of refraction. Again, when this refracted ray comes and strike at this point, again here the medium is changing. This one is denser medium and this one outside is rare medium. So when light travels from this denser to rare, it means in denser medium means speed is less, and when it enters in rare medium, its speed increases. So instead of going like this one, it bends away from the normal and it goes like this one. This is the called emergent ray, final refracted ray, okay? So original direction of incident ray is this one, right? This one. And this is the direction of emergent ray after passing through this glass slab, this one. So both this incident ray and emergent ray are parallel to each other, okay? Not along the same line. Its direction is same, but there is some difference, perpendicular distance between this incident ray and emergent ray. Okay, why this? Due to this glass slab. When light simply travels in one medium, suppose air, so it goes like this one. This is the original path of light. But due to this slab, light suffers some refraction, bending, and inside this it bends towards the normal, and outside when it moves, it bends away from the normal. This is, and it takes this path. So this perpendicular distance between this incident ray and emergent ray is called lateral displacement. So in exams it comes in 1 marks. What do you mean by this lateral displacement? Actually, it is the phenomenon in which emergent ray shift laterally means perpendicularly from the actual incident ray. This is called what? Lateral displacement, and it takes place due to refraction. Now next in 1 marks also comes, what are different factors on which this lateral displacement depends? Actually, when you increase the thickness of this glass slab, when you increase the thickness, its bending becomes more and this lateral displacement is also more. So this lateral displacement is directly proportional to thickness of glass slab. Another factor is refractive index. If the refractive index of this medium is more, so more bending, it means again lateral displacement is more. So the factors on which this lateral displacement depends on thickness of glass slab, and another one is refractive index of glass slab. So this is about refraction. What do you mean by refraction? What is the main cause of refraction and how refraction takes place through glass slab? After this, I will discuss laws of refraction. Take a screenshot of this one, then I will move to the next topic. Now, laws of refraction. Like laws of reflection, here also there are 2 laws of refraction. First one is incident ray, refracted ray and normal to the interface at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Like, it will be more clear with the help of this example. Suppose this is an incident ray, right? And this one is normal, and the angle between this incident ray and normal is called angle of incidence. Again, when light travels from this first medium and enters into the second medium, suppose first medium is rare medium, less density medium, so it bends towards the normal. It goes like this one. So this angle between this ray is called refracted ray. Angle between this refracted ray and normal is called angle of refraction. So this is normal, right? This one is incident ray, okay, and this one is refracted ray. And what is first law? Incident ray, refracted ray and normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Then second law, Snell's law. It is also called, second law is also called Snell's law. What is this? This ratio of sine of, you heard the word sine in mathematics? Yes. So the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant quantity for a given pair of medium. So you can write sine I by sine r equal to constant, and this constant depends on this pair of medium. It is constant for a particular pair of medium, like pair of medium is air and water. So for air and water, for this particular medium, this ratio is constant. Suppose glass and water, this pair of medium, this sin I by sin r is constant. So this sin I by sin r is constant for a given pair of medium, and this constant is called refractive index. And how you define this refractive index? Actually, suppose when light travels from this first medium to this second medium, okay, so there is some density of this first medium, suppose it is a rare medium, so density is less, it means refractive index is less. Refractive index is related to density, less denser medium, and here if density is more, it means refractive index is more, it means it is denser medium. So when light travels from this first medium to second medium, so we can define refractive index of second medium. Light goes in second medium, so refractive index of second medium with respect to which medium? Light comes from first one, with respect to first medium. And what is the physical meaning of this refractive index? Actually, you know na, refraction means bending of light, change of direction of light. So how much light is bending, how much light deviates from its original path, that measurement is called refractive index. This is a physical meaning, and mathematically you can say refractive index is equal to sin I by sin r. This is a constant quantity. Refractive index is denoted by n also or mu also. Any symbol you can use. In different books, different symbols are used. So refractive index is a measure of bending of light during refraction, and mathematically this is equal to sin I by sin r. It is constant for a given pair of medium. Okay. You know that when light travels from one medium to another medium, its speed changes. It means bending takes place. So this bending, how much light is bending, is related to refractive index. So this refractive index is also related to velocity of the two medium. So you can write refractive index is equal to speed of light in a given pair of medium. Suppose this is first medium, this one is second medium. So refractive index of light enters in second medium. So you can write refractive index in second medium with respect to first medium, n to 1, or simply write n. It is equal to velocity of light in medium 1 by velocity of light in medium 2, and this n21 is also equal to n2 by n1. N21 means refractive index of medium 2 with respect to 1. So medium 2 with respect to 1 means N2 by N1, and N2 by N1 equal to this velocity of light in medium 1 by velocity of light in medium 2. Sorry, it is written wrong. V1 by V2. Here it's clear that if refractive index is more, its velocity is less, inversely proportional. If refractive index is less, its velocity is more. It means if refractive index more means denser medium. In denser medium, velocity is less, because in denser medium more collision is there. In that medium, speed of light decreases, and in rare medium its velocity is more because less number of collisions. So you must remember one thing: refractive index is inversely proportional to velocity, right? Velocity of the medium. This N21 means N2 by N1, and this N2 by N1 is equal to V1 by V2, right? I think refractive index is clear. One more term, absolute refractive index. What is this absolute refractive index? Suppose if the first medium is, suppose, air. So with respect to air, what is the refractive index of the second medium? That refractive index of second medium is called absolute refractive index. It means refractive index of the medium with respect to air. If you write refractive index of any medium with respect to air, that refractive index is called absolute refractive index, right? So suppose in this case first medium is air, so you can write N2, because rays enter in second medium from first one. N21 equal to N2 by N1 equal to, in first medium what is the speed of light? It is denoted by this c. Speed of light is denoted by c. Suppose in first medium, here is N21 is what? V1 by V2. V1 is c, and in second medium, suppose V2, right? So this you know that N1 is 1. Refractive index of air is always 1. So you can write simply N2 by N1 equal to, simply write N2, right? N2. And suppose velocity of light in second medium is V. So this N2, because N1 is 1 with respect to air, so simply N2 equal to C by V2. Simply write N2 as N, C, and refractive index of that medium is V. So N equal to C by V. Or you can write refractive index of the medium. Only if refractive index of the medium is given, it means it is always with respect to air, right? And that is always equal to C by V. This is absolute refractive index, right? Okay. One more thing, you know, refractive index of diamond is maximum. Refractive index of diamond is how much? 2.42, right? So if it is given that refractive index of diamond is 2.42, it means refractive index of diamond with respect to air. So what is the meaning of this term? It means refractive index of diamond 2.42 means with respect to air. So C by velocity of light in diamond. So you can say that this V equal to C by 2.42. It means what? Velocity of light in diamond is 1.24 times velocity of light in air. It means velocity decreases in the diamond. So in 1 marks question it will be asked that it is given that refractive index of diamond is 2.42. What is the meaning of this one? It means refractive index of diamond with respect to air, or you can say velocity of light in diamond is equal to 1 by 242 times velocity of light in air, or you can say velocity of light in air is equal to this to multiply 2.42 times velocity of light in diamond. It means velocity of light in diamond decreases with respect to air, right? So one important point, you know that refractive index of this air light is 1. Refractive index of air is always 1 and refractive index of diamond is highest, that is 2.42. So in this way, if any question comes in the exams, you can define like this one. Okay. After this, you must know the meaning of this denser medium and rare medium. Denser medium is higher density, means higher refractive index, and rare medium is low refractive index. So in denser medium, speed of light is lesser than that of the rare medium. So you must remember these 2 points. First one is, when a ray of light travels from this rare to denser medium, rare means speed is more, denser means speed decreases, so it bends towards the normal. So first point, when ray of light is traveling from rare to denser medium, instead of going like this, it bends towards the normal. So this is angle of incidence and this one is angle of refraction, and here R is always less than I. Here angle R is less than angle I when ray travels from rare medium to denser medium. Second case, when ray travels from this denser to rare medium. Denser means its speed is less, and when it enters into the rare medium, okay, less refractive index means its speed is more. So instead of going like this one, it bends away from the normal. So in this case, angle of refraction is this one R, here is I. In this case, R is angle of refraction, R is greater than angle of incidence I. So you must remember these 2 points. When a ray travels from rare to denser medium, it bends towards the normal, and when it travels from denser to rare medium, it bends away from the normal. Okay, so these are all about this refraction. After this, I will next discuss lens, what is lens, different types of lens. Okay, so take a screenshot of this one first. Now lens. What is lens? Lens is a transparent optical medium bounded by 2 surfaces. Either both surfaces are spherical or one surface must be spherical. So it is bounded by 2 surfaces, and the 2 surfaces are transparent so that light enters from one medium to another medium, from outside to inside the lens. So you can define it is a transparent optical medium bounded by 2 surfaces. One surface must be spherical at least, or both surfaces be spherical. So depending upon the types of surfaces, there are different types of lens. Okay, so first one, suppose if both the surfaces are convex, so this type of lens is called biconvex lens or simply convex lens. Okay, if one surface is plane and other surface is convex, so this type of lens is called plano-convex lens. Okay, if both the surfaces are concave, so this is called biconcave lens or simply concave lens. Okay, if one surface is plane and other surface is concave, then this type of lenses is called plano-concave lens. Okay, and if one surface is concave and another surface is convex, so this type of lens is called this surface is concave, so concavo-convexo lens. Concavo-convexo lens. So depending upon the types of surfaces bounded by the 2 surfaces, there are different types of lenses are there, but basically we have to study only these 2 type of lens, biconvex and biconcave lens. This biconvex lens is also called convex and this biconcave is also called concave lens. So let us discuss one by one. First one is this convex lens or biconvex. Okay, this convex lens is also called converging lens. Whatever is the property of this concave mirror, the same property is for convex lens also. And in case of image formation also, the same rule is followed. So this convex lens is called converging lens because here the rays actually meet. Okay. Suppose this one is a convex lens. How you पहचान पाओगे कि convex है कि concave है बेटा? This convex lens is thicker at the middle and thinner at the edges. Okay, when you touch the lens, if it is thicker at the middle and thinner at the end points edges, that is called edges, then that type of lens is called convex lens. Another one is concave lens. And this concave lens is also called diverging lens. Why diverging? Because the rays actually after refraction diverges from each other. They are moving away from each other. The rays do not actually meet. They appear to meet. So this type of lens is also called diverging lens. Here this one. So कैसे पहचानोगे कि बेटा ये concave lens है? If the lens is thinner at the middle and thicker at the edges, opposite of this one. If it is thicker at the end points edges and thinner at the middle, then this type of lens is called concave lens. Okay. Again, this convex lens is made up of two spherical surfaces, so it must have two center of curvature, two radius of curvature, two focus. Everything is two because it is made up of two spherical surfaces. So there are different terminologies related to this convex and concave lens. Let us discuss one by one. First one is center of lens. Suppose this one is the center of the lens. Okay, and this surface is made by this optical surface, right? And this surface is made by this spherical surface. So for this surface, center is to this side, and for this surface, center is to this side. Okay, and the line joining the center to this optical center, center to center, is called principal axis, right? Okay. So this center is C1 and this center is C2. Okay. Again, the line joining this is optical center O, and the line joining C1 and C2 is called, this is called principal axis. Principal axis. Okay. Now after principal axis, the midpoint of this optical center and center of curvature is called focus. Focus is always between optical center and center of curvature and the mid of that line. So this one is focus F1 and this side focus F2. Okay, and the distance between this optical center and center of curvature is radius of curvature. For this one R1 and this side it is R2. Again, the distance between this optical center and focus is called focal length. This one is F1 and this side is F2. Okay. Now, in case of this one, if a ray is parallel to this principal axis, then after refraction, it meet at some point, and that point is called focus of this convex lens. These rays actually meet, that's why it is also called converging lens. Again, in case of concave lens, again all these terms for this one also, there are two center of curvature. This one is optical center, one center of curvature to this side and the center of curvature to this side. There is a focus F1 and there is a focus F2 again. Okay, and why it is called diverging bias? Because if a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, it after refraction it goes like this one. Again, another ray incident parallel to this principal axis, after refraction it goes like this one. So these two refracted rays are going away from each other. So these two rays do not actually meet. They appear to meet and passing they appear to pass through this focus F1. So image is formed at this point. Okay, so these rays do not actually meet, they appear to meet. That's why it is also called diverging lens. Is it clear? Convex lens is called converging lens and concave lens is called diverging lens. Here image is always formed to the right of this optical center. So here focal length is always positive. You must remember this point. In case of convex lens, focal length is always positive. And here focal image is formed left of this optical center. This is optical center. Okay. So left, anything which is left of the optical center or pole, that is always taken as negative side. So focal length of this concave lens is always negative. You must remember this thing. Again, in both the cases, object is always kept to the left of this optical center. So anything which is left of the optical center, it should be negative sign. So here focal length is represented by F. Here object distance is always negative in both the cases. Object distance here also negative. Focal length is F. Okay. Again, here image is always real image is formed. The rays actually meet. So it is formed at the right of the optical center. So image distance is always positive. And here rays appear to meet left of the optical center. So image distance is always here negative. So you must remember these points. These are very important points. In case of convex lens, focal length is positive and image distance is positive and only object distance is negative. But in case of this concave lens, all the things are negative. Okay, you know now, distance between this optical center and this object is called object distance. Distance between optical center and focus is called focal length, and distance between object distance and image image is called image distance. Okay. Now after this, there are some rules for image formation by the lens. Let us discuss that one. Take a screenshot of this one. Now rules for image formation by spherical lens. First rule is that if a ray of light is incident on the lens in a direction parallel to this principal axis, suppose this is convex lens and this one is principal axis, right? If a ray of light is incident parallel to this principal axis, then in case of convex lens, after refraction it passes through second focus. This is first rule. Again, in case of concave lens, if a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, then after refraction it goes like this one. So it appears to pass through the first focus in case of concave lens. So you must remember this first rule, very important. If a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, then in case of convex lens, it passes through second focus after refraction. And in case of concave lens, it appears to pass through the first focus after refraction. Again, come to second rule. If a ray of light is passing through the principal focus, this is convex lens, and if a ray of light is passing through this principal focus, then after refraction it becomes parallel to the principal axis. Again, in case of concave lens, if a ray of light is incident, suppose like this one, appear to pass through this focus, then after refraction it becomes parallel to the principal axis. Okay, this rays is appear to coming from this focus F2 in case of concave lens. So it becomes parallel to the principal axis. You must remember this second rule also. Then third rule, if a ray of light is passing through the optical center, this one is optical center, suppose ray is going like this one, so it goes undeviated after refraction. It means it goes along the same path and same direction after refraction in both the case. In case of concave lens also, if it is going passing through this optical center, it goes undeviated like this one. So there are three important rules when we draw image formation by concave and convex lens. So you must remember all these three rules. Okay, take a screenshot. Now, image formation by convex lens. First, when the object is at infinity. Object is at infinity means rays are coming parallel to the principal axis. In this case, suppose this ray is coming parallel to the principal axis. After refraction passes through second focus. Again, second ray is coming parallel to the principal axis. It again passes through second focus. The two rays actually meet at second focus. So, what is the position of image when the object is at infinity? At f2, right? And here the rays actually meet. So, what type of image is formed? Real and inverted, right? And what is the size of image? It is point size, highly diminished image, right? When the object is at infinity, highly diminished image is formed. Is it clear? Okay. Now, second point, when the object is beyond 2f1 or C1, means this is first center of curvature, object is kept beyond C1, or you can say focus is always between optical center and center of curvature. So, C1 is always twice f1 distance. Okay. When object is kept at this point, suppose AB is the object. Now, for image, we need two rays to meet at some point. So, first ray is going parallel to the principal axis. Then any ray parallel to the principal axis, after refraction passes through second focus, this one. Okay. And if another ray is passing through the optical center, it goes undeviated. So, the two rays meet at this point. This is the image of this B, B dash, and this one is A dash. So, image is formed between f2 and 2f2. What is the position between f2 and 2f2? And nature, real and inverted, rays actually meet, converge at this point, real, inverted, right? And what is the size? Size is smaller than the object, okay? Or you can write diminished or smaller than object, okay? So, here this is the case when object is beyond 2f1. Now, third case, when the object is exactly at C1 or 2f1, in this case what happened? One ray going parallel to the principal axis, after refraction passes through this second focus. Another ray which is passing through this optical center, it goes undeviated, right? Now, in this case, the two rays meet at this point C2, or you can say 2f2. So, what is the position of the image? Image is formed exactly at 2f2. Okay. And what is the nature? Again, real and rays actually meet, and real image is always inverted, right? What is the size of the image in this case? Here, the size of object is this one, A, B is the object, and here A dash, B dash is the image. Size is same as that of the object, same size, right? As that of the object. This is third case. Now come to fourth case. Here object is coming closer and closer to the optical center of the lens, and you find that when the object is coming closer and closer to the optical center, the size of the image increases. First highly diminished, then smaller, then same size. Again same size, after same size it becomes larger than the object, again greater than the object. Size of the image increases as the object comes closer. Now in this case, the object is between this 2f1 and f1, right? So again one ray is going parallel to the principal axis, after refraction passes through this point, second focus. Another ray passing through the center of curvature goes undeviated, goes like this one. At this one, here image is formed, C2 means twice f2, beyond 2f2. And again here the size of the image is greater than the object size, and in this case also real and inverted image is formed. So you can write position is beyond 2f2, right? And nature is again real and inverted. Real image is always inverted, right? And size is larger than object, larger than object. Clear? Now the size of the image increases as the object comes closer. Now next case, when object is at f1, exactly at focus. Now what happened? When the object is at infinity, image is formed at focus, and when the object is at focus, image is formed at infinity, opposite of this one, first case, right? So suppose one ray is going like this one is the object, right? And ray is going like this one. After refraction passes through the focus, and the ray passing through the optical center goes undeviated. These two rays going parallel to each other, these two refracted rays. It means parallel rays meet at infinity. So image is formed at where? Infinity. Or you can write this symbol of just infinity. And nature is again, these two rays actually meet. So real and inverted. Again size is what? Highly enlarged size, larger than the object, highly enlarged. Clear? Okay. Now the last case, which is different from all these cases. Okay. All this one. Again, when the object comes closer between optical center and focus. Now what happened? One ray again passing through the principal, parallel to the principal axis, passes after refraction, passes through f2. Another ray passing through the optical center goes like this one, undeviated. These two rays are diverging, these two refracted rays moving away from each other. So there is no possibility to meet at any point to the right side. So these two rays, when you extend in the backward direction, they appear to meet at this point. So here the image of the object is formed, and the side of object and image is same side. The rays do not actually meet. So what type of image is formed? Virtual, and virtual image is always erect, right? Okay. Then position beyond, you can write f1 or same side of object. Same side. Position is same side of object. Okay. And nature is again, what type of nature is this one? Virtual, and virtual image is always erect, right? And what is the size? Size is enlarged. So these are different cases in image formation by convex lens. It's very important from the examination point of view. You must remember these position, nature and size in every cases, and you must know how to draw the images at different cases, right? Okay, take a screenshot of this one. Then image formation by concave lens. Now image formation by concave lens. Here only two cases are there. We will discuss one by one. First, when the object is at infinity. Suppose the object is kept at infinity, and from the infinity rays are coming parallel. So incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. In this case, after refraction, the refracted rays goes like this one, and for this incident ray goes like this one. These two rays are diverging. They do not meet at any point. So these two rays, when produced backward, they appear to meet at this focus f1. So the two rays meet at this point. Here image is formed. So when the object is at infinity, where image is formed? Image is formed at focus f1, right? Now what is the nature of image? Image is formed by the diverging rays. The rays do not actually meet, they appear to meet. So nature of the image is virtual, and virtual image is always erect. And size is highly diminished, smaller than the object, highly diminished, very small size, point sized image is formed. Okay, so one case when the object is at infinity. Now another case when the object is in between optical center and infinity, any place between optical center and infinity. We kept object at any point. So in this case, you kept between optical center infinity always object is formed beyond this, object is formed always between O and focus F1, right? How? Suppose one ray is going like this one. In this ray, parallel to the principal axis, after refraction goes like this one. So it appeared to pass through this focus. Another ray passing through the optical center, it goes undeviated. So these two rays meet at this point here between O and F1. And what is this nature? Nature is again virtual and erect and size smaller than this object, diminished. Okay, so you can write position is between O and F1, right? Nature is again virtual and erect, and size is again diminished or smaller in size than object. Diminished image is formed in case of this concave lens, always diminished image, okay, smaller than the size of the objects. So these are two cases in case of concave lens. Now after this, come to lens formula. Lens formula is the relation between image distance, object distance and focal length, like that in case of mirror formula. Only difference is that in mirror formula, here it is positive sign and here it is negative sign. 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F, where V is the image distance, U is object distance and F is focal length. Now you must remember the sign convention for the two types of lens, concave and convex lens. Okay, anything which is right of the optical center, you always take positive, and anything which is left of the optical center, you always take it as negative. So in case of this convex lens, object is always kept to the right of the optical center, so it should be negative. Image is always formed to the right of the optical center, so it should be positive. And image is always formed to the right of the optical center and focus is also that side, so focal length is positive in case of convex lens. Again, in case of concave lens, object is always at the left of optical center, image is also formed at the left of optical center and focus is also at the left of optical center. So all these three are taken as negative sign in case of concave lens. So you must remember the sign convention for concave and convex lens, because these are very important from this numerical. In numericals, many questions comes based on this one, lens formula, 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F. So you always take sign. What is the sign for V, U and F, like this one. Again, if the object distance is above the height of the object is above the principal axis, it should be taken as positive, and if it is below the principal axis, it should be taken as negative. So in case of real and inverted image, object distance is always positive and inverted means it is below the principal axis, it should be taken as negative. Again, in case of virtual image, both object and image are above the principal axis, so both should be taken as positive, object height also and image height also. One last topic is left, that is magnification and power of the lens. Take a screenshot of this one, then we will move to the next topic. Now, magnification of lens denoted by small m. Magnification is a measure of how much large or small the size of the image as compared to that of object. How much image is magnified, okay, how much times. So it is defined as ratio of size of image to the size of object. It means h dash if size of image is h dash and size of object is h, so h dash by h. If erect image is formed, both are above the principal axis, in that case m is positive. And if inverted image is formed, so image is always negative below the principal axis, in that case magnification is always negative, right? In terms of image distance and object distance, this magnification is V by U. Remember, in case of mirror it is minus V by U, but here in case of lens it is V by U. After this, Last topic is power of a lens. Power of a lens is the ability of a lens to converge or diverge the rays falling on the lens. What is the diverging power or converging power of that lens? And it depends on focal length. Smaller the focal length, greater is the converging power. Greater the focal length, smaller is the converging power, right? So it is power is reciprocal of focal length. It is the ability of lens to converge or diverge the ray of light falling on it. If this focal length is always in meter, so SI unit of this power is diopter. Is if focal length is in meter, then formula becomes 1 by F. If the focal length is in centimeter, then 1 diopter equal to 100 by F centimeter, right? So centimeter, you have to use this one, because if anything is in centimeter, you must convert into meter, because unit of power is diopter. Diopter is 1 meter inverse. So if it is given in centimeter, you first convert it into meter. So if it is centimeter, directly use this formula, 100 by F centimeter, and if it is in meter, this is 1 by, you can write this one also, sorry, power. Okay, so these are about magnification and power of lens. With this is the last topic. After this, I am going to solve only one example, because I think this video is also too lengthy. So just I will try to solve one numerical from the NCERT book, right? Now I am going to solve this page number 182, example number 10.3. Page number 182, example number 10.3. In this example, it is given that a concave lens has a focal length of 15 centimeter. What type of lens? Concave lens. So you must remember the sign convention. In case of concave lens, always virtual and erect image is formed. And object distance, image distance, object height, image height, focal length, everything should be left of the optical center. So all these things are negative. So focal length is given here, how much? 15 centimeter. It means minus 15, right? At what distance should the object from the lens be placed so that it forms an image at a distance 10 centimeter from the lens? Image distance is given 10 centimeter, and it is also negative sign. You have to find object distance, right? And also find the magnification produced by the lens. Okay, so these things are given. You use lens formula, 1 by F equal to 1 by V minus 1 by U. You put the value of F and V here. So 1 by U equal to what? 1 by V minus 1 by F. 1 by V means 1 by 1 minus 10 minus 1 by F means minus 15. So this becomes minus 1 by 10 minus minus plus 1 by 15. This is 1 by U. After solving this one, you get the value of U as minus 30 centimeter. It is exactly correct, because here also object distance is comes in negative sign. It means virtual and erect image is formed, and always is also kept at the left of the optical center. In this way, you calculate object distance. Now magnification. How much times image is magnified? So this magnification M is, what is the formula for this one? V by U. What is V here? V is minus 10 and U is what? You got minus 30. Cancel this one. 1 by 3. When you divide this one, you get the value 0.33. This is the value for magnification. In this way, you calculate other numericals also. Time is very less. So with this, I am going to end the class. Okay, students, take a screenshot of this one. Then wait for the next chapter of class 10. Up to then, students, bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.